others celebrate the wins,
Yes.
we celebrate the mud.
each episode has a special guest.
Tony-nominated actress, Broadway's Lily Cooper.
Sasheer Zamata.
David A. Gregory.
Getting messy with muddy topics.
We are going to be talking about grief journey.
With hilarious moments
Now get over here.
And deep conversations.
I'm ashamed to even admit this, but this is what happened.
This is Into the Mud. Hi everyone, I'm Alex Cuman.
And I'm Drew King, and welcome back to Into the Mud podcast.
We are coming to you from the Barrel Room at the Malin West Village in New York City with our wonderful guest today, Sasheer Zamata.
Hi. Yes.
Incredible outfit, obviously,
Thank you
every
so
time.
much. Thank you. It's
we
Farm
love it.
Rio, and I just
Farm Rio never misses.
Never misses.
They never miss.
Who is that?
Farm Rio. It's
beautiful.
If you can,
There's a lot of patterns,
I love
bright
it.
colors.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
They apparently plant a tree every time you buy something. I don't know.
Oh, it's like Tom's. Didn't Tom's
Yeah.
shoes do that or
I
something?
think
These are
so.
looking like Tom. No,
These
those
are Rothy's. Yeah.
Nice.
We're gonna maybe get some sponsorships.
Plug in everything.
Anyone out there? Hi. Money, give us money.
Can
Yeah.
you hear me? Okay, so Sasheer is a wonderfully talented actor, writer, comedian. You did 4 seasons on SNL. You've been on Hulu. You've been on ABC. You run a wonderful podcast with Nicole Byer.
Yeah.
We love Nicole. Hi, Nicole.
Called Best Friends?
Yes.
Yeah. Because we're
And
best friends.
They are best friends.
You're like, actually, she's a stranger. I don't know her at all.
Yeah,
Not
but
sure.
it's
Never
like
met
us
her.
trying to be friends.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
We will get
it's our
there.
journey.
And you have a couple stand-up specials out. The latest of which, the first woman.
Yes.
Which was also fun because I got to open for Sasheer on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We went down to DC.
Yeah.
We had such a fun
Oh,
little
I
weekend.
love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I have
It
to
was
watch
awesome.
now. I'm
It
gonna
was-
watch
you,
tonight.
You got to watch, and it's on YouTube, but it is soon to be on
Hulu. Yes.
Okay.
Amazing.
Oh my God, we
Amazing,
love
amazing.
that. And that came out when was that?
At end of last year, August
last year.
of 2023. Yeah.
August of 2023. And tell us a little bit about like what you are doing now, and
Yeah.
like because you also just I don't know whatever you are at liberty to talk about or
Yeah.
not talk about. So I'm gonna let you.
I can talk about it.
Great. Talk about it.
I shot a Marvel show. It'll be on Disney Plus sometime. I don't think I'm supposed to say when, but yeah, it's the spin-off of WandaVision following the Agatha character, and it's very cool and magical and literally a dream of mine. And yeah, I'm very
witch.
excited about it. I'm a
I was going
witch,
to say,
yeah.
who are you playing in it? You're playing a witch?
Yeah.
Who's the witch?
I can't say that, but
Okay, got it. Okay, fine.
You shut the
yeah.
be cool.
But yeah,
Like
I
it's
think
Bette Midler in Hocus Pocus. Yeah.
it's a cameo. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But it's very different from anything that Marvel's done, and I think it's a cool tone, and I think it'll be well received. Yeah, I'm excited.
That's so exciting. And now you're a part of that world and that
Yeah,
empire. And there's
yeah.
a massive fandom there too.
There is, yeah. We were kind of briefed before you even start working, and they're like, people really love Marvel, and so you do need to be careful about like what you post, because if you post even like a sliver of a hint of what's happening in the story, they'll grab it and like spread it like wildfire. So they're
Oh my
like,
God,
don't
Reddit
post your
explodes.
costumes. Yeah, don't post anything. If you're like in a hotel for an event for Marvel, don't post yourself in the room because people will figure out what hotel that is and come find you.
Well, that is terrifying.
That is
Yeah.
creepy AF.
Yeah. But you know, it's good to be loved.
Yeah.
Unwanted, yeah.
That's the mantra of the day. It's good to be loved. I like that.
I love that. That's a
So
fun mantra.
incredible.
So you wrapped that, and then you and I have talked about you have been taking some directing classes. You're looking to do because you've done so you have found such like a massive amount of career success so far. It's like truly inspiring and so
Yeah.
awesome to watch. Like you
Remarkable.
have just like truly like just hit so many milestones. And I wanted to know, just sort of to kick our conversation off, like how do you, because there's still more that you want to do.
Yeah.
Right? There's still more that you want to do, but how do you grapple with like really like having gratitude for what you have, and then still setting these like goals and still like wanting to do more without constantly raising that bar so that you're always, because I don't know, I sometimes
Yeah.
struggle with like once I get a thing that I want, or like right as I'm about to get it, I'm like, okay, well, what's the next thing?
Yeah.
And I don't really sit in like the joy of like,
Or the celebration.
or
of
the
that
celebration or patting myself on the back.
Yeah.
Like, do you find that you do that, or like how has your process with that been?
I could celebrate more, honestly, but
Yeah.
I have burned myself out before, so I think I'm trying to be more kind to myself and be like, I don't have to hustle, I don't have to grind. I did that. I did a lot of groundwork that got me to a place where I can take breaks, and I feel very thankful for that. And
Thank goodness.
so I am trying not to like give into the feed the beast mentality where it's like I have to produce, I have to pump out enough stuff so people will never forget me. I'm like, it's okay if they forget me for a little bit,
Yeah.
because then I'll come back and then they'll be like, oh, thank God, like, you
Yeah.
know, wow,
Yeah.
she came back with another thing.
Yeah.
And all the people I love and look up to do that. They like go away for a little bit and then they come back and you're like, oh, that's what they've been doing for the last 3 years. Or
Yeah.
like, oh, they took this time to like cultivate a whole show or create a whole world, as opposed to, oh, I just see their stuff all the time. Like and so I'm trying to like remind myself it's okay to like pace myself.
The quality over the quantity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you talk more about your burnout experience? I
Yeah.
guess essentially what led up to your burnout.
Yeah.
And how did you struggle through the burnout, and how did you take care of yourself in the middle of the burnout?
I think it was really the beginning of my comedy journey when I first moved to New York, and I was doing improv, stand-up, and sketch all at the same time
When did you move here?
in 2009.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, and I just like hit it hard, and because I loved it,
Yeah.
and I was a fan of comedy, and I loved doing it, and also I think I was giving into like comparative thinking, where I'm seeing everyone else around me
Yep.
going to a million
Impossible
mics
not
every
to.
night. Yeah,
It's
and so-
motivating, but also destroying at the same time.
Absolutely, because it's like not everyone has to do that. That works for them, and that's great. It doesn't have to work for me. But I thought it did have to work for me, so I'm like doing so many mics all the time and doing all these rehearsals and classes during the day. And like I remember one time I was on stage and I don't even know what words came out. Like I was just kind of like rambling and like mumbling and being very existential. I remember the host of that mic was like, hey, Sasheer, if you just do that joke you did last week, that's fine too. Like, you don't have to like make a new thing every time. It's cool. And I'm like, who am I? And I remember explaining this to like my best friend Nicole actually, and she was like, what if I gave you permission to not do a week of mics? Like, what if you just sat down for a minute? And I was like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
But then I did do that, and I was like, oh, I can actually still create good stuff and not have to like kill myself over it. I don't have to like bleed art all the time. I can just like create when it feels good, and then the work I create actually does like feel better to me because I'm not like wringing it. I'm not like white knuckling it the whole time.
Yeah.
So I feel like I started learning it's okay to like breathe.
Yeah.
and give yourself some space to like think, because also the way I create comedy or create anything, usually it's based off of personal experiences. So if I'm not living, I don't have anything to write about.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like not only is it like okay to slow down, but it's essential, which is like all this like burnout that you're talking about right now. I feel very I'm in this stage right now of like really needing to profoundly rest, like, and because my mode of living since moving to New York has been like every night or like 6 nights a week do shows, and then you take one night off and one day off, and in that one day you go grocery shopping, you food prep for the week, you
do
write,
laundry.
you do laundry, you do all that stuff, and then you rest at night by catching up on all the shows that you're supposed to watch and calling all your friends and just go.
Yeah.
And really like having, I feel very burnt out. I feel tired. I'm not sleeping well. I'm not, my creativity feels like this faucet that is like on full and just a single drip is coming out.
Yeah.
And I've been in that way for a long time. And it's like, maybe you're doing it wrong for you.
Yeah.
Maybe the way that other people are hustle is not the way you're supposed to do it. And that relaxing into the rest is actually going to be how you get to that next stage of it. Like, I'm just really convinced that I need to. I'm going to just sleep for a month.
Yeah, hibernate for a little bit.
Yeah, hibernate, just chill.
Yeah, because also when I feel like fear comes in and I'm like, if I don't like write something in the next month, I'll lose it. Or like if I don't get on stage in a month, I'll lose it. And then every time I come back from a break, I'm like, oh, yeah, I got it. Like, it's like, of course, I've been doing it for like 13 years. So it's like, it's ingrained. Like, it's already in my body and I'm not going to lose it. It's just, it'll be there whenever I want it.
Yeah.
Alex mentioned that you're in the midst of leaning more heavily into the writing and the directing and not just solely being on screen.
Yeah.
So in this industry that we know loves to pigeonhole us and kind of corner us into just doing one thing and this is all that we do, how have you found the confidence, I guess, to move forward and slightly pivot in a different direction and move forward with that?
I'm still searching for that confidence, honestly.
Yeah.
Classes have helped because I feel like what makes me insecure is the lack of knowledge I have of a different field. Like I've been in front of the camera for so long that being behind the camera feels intimidating.
Yeah.
So last year during the strikes, I was like, I have time to take some classes. So I took a bunch of classes at UCLA and took screenwriting and directing composition, and it was super helpful to like get a more well-rounded view of art, film, and I've also shadowed directors before too, which is like really beneficial, but also just kind of learning like, oh, everyone has their own style. Everyone has their own way that they do it. There's really no right way to do it, which is encouraging to me because it's like, I could just do it my way.
Yeah.
And it's just figuring out what that is.
Are you struggling with imposter syndrome at all?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yes. Yeah. It's like, who's this girl? Why does she think she can just like switch gears? Or like the idea that like, oh, you have to helm a whole production. Why would anyone listen to me? I'm just a dumb actress. Like, why would they want to like listen to any of the ideas I have? But like, actresses transition to directing all the time.
Yep.
And Greta Gerwig, actress, or Gina King, like
arguably have so much more insight on how to speak to the actors and the kind of direction that works. But it's
you're so much more well-rounded.
Yeah, similar to like I just did a club. A stand-up club that was run by comedians where it's like I love the way that it's run because the comedians know this is how we love to perform. So I would imagine it's very similar in that transition of like you know how you want to be spoken to in the moment, and you know the kind of direction that you're looking for from a director, and you know the stuff that works and that it doesn't. And so it's like arguably that's the better. Not the better path. There's no such thing as better. But it's great. It's a good path.
Because there's so many directors like who are chomping at the bit just to get on set to see what set looks like, to see how a set runs. I've seen many sets because I've just been in a lot of stuff, and I can see the crew. I can like when I'm not working, when I'm not like being used, I can see how the crew is responding to the director, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work when you yell at them, or people like to go home at a certain time.
Yeah,
they need food.
They're happier when they need food.
Which is needy. It's needy.
How dare they?
Needy, but
yeah. So I think I have the knowledge. I just need to like actually implement it and actually create something, and that is a daunting step, but also an exciting step because it's like, what will it be? Who knows?
Yeah. That's the terrifying thing of creating something that's your own. And especially somebody who's already had massive amounts of success and you're visible in the industry already. People know who you are and people are kind of around you. Is it, I think I already know the answer. So can you elaborate on the terror and the fear of creating something new and putting it out there and like, I'm a perfectionist. I'm sure you probably are as well.
Yeah.
Like, what does it feel like to create something and put it out there? Do you feel like your creativity is stifled because you're afraid of what other people are going to say? Or do you feel like you're able to be super raw and vulnerable in your creativity and what you're putting out there?
I do not feel like give myself the space to be raw and vulnerable. It's not like anyone's stopping me, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's all those thoughts of like, well, I should be excellent at everything already. People have already seen me excel in these fields, so I should, like, if I don't in these other ones, they're gonna think what happened, which isn't fair to me or anybody else, and probably also not true. But when I started comedy, I started at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, and that was such a like great playground where you could just try things out, fail in front of whoever. Like, it didn't matter. And
Did it feel safe to you?
it felt so safe to me. I don't know if it's like that now. I haven't been back there in a long time. But it felt so like experimental, and I ran a variety show where I could just try out bits and sketches and characters and anything. And if it didn't work, whatever. That's a funny thing I did on a random Wednesday at 11 p.m. And if it did work, great. Maybe it'll turn into something later. But I think now I have less spaces like that where I feel like safe to just like play.
Which are so essential to the creative
To create
process.
the creative process.
Yeah.
We were just having a conversation earlier today about play and how we kind of lose it as just like adults, but even as in creative fields, where like when you lose that sense of play and all of a sudden the stakes get high, or there's money on the line, or people are watching, or whatever it is, and this tense feeling comes in, and that's when the flow stops.
Yeah.
And like that's when that's like the killer of creativity, is just that just like what are people gonna think?
Yeah.
And that is like, that's something I struggle with a lot, is like this perfectionism of like, I have to perform and I have to be A+ all the time. And if I'm not, I will lose the bookings. I will look bad online, or people won't like me, whatever it is. And do either of you, I mean, Drew or Sasheer, like, how do you deal with perfectionist thinking?
I don't know. I would love some advice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Weed is great. And so are martinis. No. It's a massive, massive, massive challenge for me. I talk about it. It's probably what I talk about in therapy the most with my therapist is the need to like curate my life and be perfect in all areas, but especially in creativity.
I talked about it yesterday in therapy, actually. Of
It's
like
tricky.
feeling like you're holding, and I don't know if it's because each of us are in, I mean, somewhat marginal. We've been in where we feel like we can't fail.
Yeah.
Like we feel like you're like, I am representing women, or I am representing the gay community, or like I'm representing the black. Like I cannot. There's no room for error.
Yeah.
Like there's not room for error for me to like make a mistake. I have to be, and that. I also just want to let go of that, because it's like, that's not like, let it go. I have trouble releasing that for sure. Yeah.
It's really hard. I have been reading this book. It's called The Good Enough Job, and it's essentially about capitalism and American work culture and identity. And it comes back to us as artists, but it also does relate to people who aren't in the arts as well, is that we pour so much of our identities into work and into work culture. And as freelancers and as artists, we have to hustle exponentially more than other people do.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to extract your identity from the creativity.
Yeah.
So when you write something bad or you create something bad, I tend to turn it back on myself and be like, I am bad, I am stupid, I am smart, this is not funny, so I am not funny, or XYZ. It's really hard to separate those things, and I'm working diligently, trying to in therapy to like figure out how to separate those. Because as a dancer, and I generally work in the theater world, I'm like, oh my god, if I'm not in a Broadway show, I'm nobody. Oh my god, blah. Like, but that's not the case. Just because I'm not on a contract doesn't mean that I'm not still an artist. I'm a cater waiter, but like I'm still an artist. It's, it's so tricky. Do you struggle with separating your identity and your career at the same time?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
During the writers and actors strike, I was like,
oof, yeah.
What am I? If I'm not doing either of those things, like if I can't. There was like months, half a year where I was like, I can't work.
Yeah.
And what else would I do if I wasn't doing, like, what if it all went away? What if AI completely took over and TV shows no longer need human beings? What do I do? And I still have an answer for that.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting moment of like, how can I still be a creator, or just be okay with not creating? And like, what does life look like? And I started taking drum lessons.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, girl.
and it's cool because I was like, I'm just gonna learn a new skill, and that's fun. And I don't know if I'm ever gonna use it for anything, but it's like, why not just like also fill out other aspects of my life? I have like, I don't want to say I'm like into gardening because I don't know what I'm doing, but I am pulling a lot of weeds out of my garden and putting my hands in the dirt, and that feels really good. But yeah, I think just like being like, oh, I guess I can like also round out other parts of my life, and that can just be nice, and be like, I could just be a full human in that way, and not be like, I'm a stand-up, or I'm a writer, or I'm an actress, or I am those things, but I'm also a human that can do those things, and I can also do other things too.
Yeah.
And I think that's helpful also to remind myself of the breaks of the time and the space, because it's like, well, I could choose to take a break, or a break can be thrust upon me at any moment, and I have to be okay with that and be able to live in other ways too.
Yeah. Do you have the tendency, and this goes for you as well, I do this all the time. The second I start developing a hobby, so be it drums or gardening, I'm like, okay, cool, well then I'm going to be the best drummer, and then I'm going to post videos on YouTube, and then people are going to see me, and then I'm going to monetize it, and then that's going to be the way that and that's my big break, is that I'm a drummer who didn't drum a year ago, and look at me now. Like my therapist is like, girl, can you just can you just go paint with some paints and like take a gummy and just be okay with it being bad? Like, no, like every hobby has to, it's got to be my next thing. Like, maybe that's just my crazy anxiety, but
Being an adult beginner is like,
So hard.
I started taking piano lessons a year or two ago.
I'll see you at Carnegie Hall next year. The clock is ticking, Alex.
I have already booked it. I immediately and I think there's this healthy balance of okay, eventually down the line, I would love to use piano as performance. I don't know in what specific form yet, but and to to your point, like I also am like, if I don't practice every day for this amount of time, then what's the point? And like you have to, and then when it started to become this obligation, that's when I knew I had to reframe how I did it. And then when it's sit down for my piano teacher, and I love that he says this. He goes, 10 minutes a day, no more. Just 10 minutes a day, because you can find 10 minutes. Everyone can find 10 minutes for anything. Yeah. But when you go, okay, the time's up, it leaves you wanting more. It's like oftentimes I'll just sit down for like 15 or 20 or a half hour. But like just getting into that daily practice of doing this thing that calms my mind down has been so wonderful. But I totally have that feeling of like the hobbies being like, well, and I have to perfect it, and it's interesting. I'm interested to know like kind of what's beneath that. Like what's
insecurity,
because it's the perfectionism,
fear,
it's insecurity, it's fear, it's kind of all of that, and I'm
or just like, I have a skill and I should capitalize on it.
Well, capitalism is the other.
Well, why would I have a skill and not show people?
Yeah.
I can't just know how to do a thing and not use it. I did that during the pandemic. Nicole and I were like roller skating all the time, and we were like, we should sell a show about roller skating. It's like, why? We go just roller skate for fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I do that all the time. Everything is like, well, maybe this could be my thing. Like this is the.
So we've been talking a lot about mushroom trips today. I did a mushroom trip recently where it was really like the theme that came to me was like, you need to rest, and rest does not look like sitting on your couch and doing stuff that is restful to other people. Rest means like you lay down and you close your eyes and maybe you don't sleep, but you're not doing anything. You are being. You are existing.
Yeah.
And even during that trip, I had like my little notebook and pen sitting on like my desk. And I remember I kept having these thoughts of like, oh, go write that down and make sure you remember this for when you come out of it. Or like, that's a good joke idea. Or like, this is a really good concept that I want you to really like remember and journal about when you get up. And I would have these thoughts and then immediately the mushrooms would speak up and be like, stop trying to alchemize every thought into output. Like stop, like what is in your brain now will be in your brain when you come down from this. And like, it just reminds me of like this concept of like everything does not have to be like it comes in and I transfer it and then I put it out for entertainment or for profit or for whatever it is. But it's so, I think in the creative fields that we're in, our brains are so trained. Like with like joke writing, I'm like, ooh, that's like, that would be a funny joke. Like remember that, like there's that element of like, we're primed for that all the time. So it's hard to break out of that cycle a little bit. But it was such an interesting thing where I was like, just stop trying to process everything for output.
Yeah. Do you have any antidotes to that perfectionist mentality and like capitalist mentality?
Antidotes of like how to like...
Yeah, to like what's the balm or the salve that like helps fix the like, it's gotta be perfect, especially when you're like sitting down to write.
Yeah.
Or like, even like this stuff, like, cause I feel like that, because we talked a little bit about writer's block and feeling like after you do something like big, like a special where you're just like, oh, I have to do another hour and I'm starting from scratch. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get over those hurdles? Or like, are you in them now and what does that feel like?
I'm definitely in it. After my first special came out, it took me months to write another joke, and I was like, do I find anything funny anymore?
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, like how did I even do it before? I don't even remember how I started doing this. And then, and I have like a note app, like on one of my notes is just like random ideas, not even fully fleshed out jokes, just like. Why do horse cops exist? And just like, I don't know what that is yet, but it just is there.
Horse cops, like cops on horses.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, what's a horse cop? A
horse that's a
like
cop.
A horse with like a hat. Like...
That would be terrifying.
Wow, my brain is not
we should write a
today.
show about horse cops.
Yeah, great. Okay, you heard it here first. When we win our Emmys, Horse Cop
coming
on
to
Hulu.
ABC.
Yeah. But I like had this joke about pineapples where in real life I went to a restaurant and they had like a fruit platter and I was like, oh, do you have pineapple here? Because I like pineapple. And the waitress was like, oh, we don't have pineapple, but we have real apple.
Wait, what?
Like, she literally said, we don't have pineapple, we have real apple. And I was like, oh, did I miss this lesson in class? Like, is a pineapple
An apple?
an apple? Yeah, it's like a fake apple. Are they even related? Like what? And I like really went down like a existential crisis, and then I did all this research on pineapples, and they have a quite an extensive history, and I have this like pretty long like 10-minute bit about pineapples, but I couldn't finish it. I didn't know how to end it, and it was like that joke propelled me back into writing, and I was like, and like
the curiosity led you back to writing,
and then I started, forming my second hour, but then that pineapple joke still wasn't ready, so it didn't make the cut, and my last special came out last August, and then same thing where I'm like, is anything funny? I have no idea how to write jokes anymore. And I revisited that pineapple joke, and I was like, I have an ending. And I was able to wrap it up. And so I feel like, okay, now we're slowly getting back into the curiosity, the writing. But it's like, I guess what I took away from that was like, it's okay to like have a moment where your brain's empty. Because I just did a big output. I just dumped everything out, and that's okay. I can just let people like it for a minute.
Yeah.
And not be like, what's the next thing? Because
like birthing a child. It's not like a woman has a baby and then everyone's like, when's the next baby happening? It's like
let's just
you
enjoy
just
this healing
the,
for a minute.
Yeah, enjoy this thing that I just did.
Yeah.
I think
I love that.
I've heard there's many different varying opinions on how to deal with writer's block, and there's the camp of people that are you power through, you just keep on writing, and then eventually things will flow. And then there are the people who say no, like this is your sock drawer period. Like take the script, put it in the sock drawer, let it marinate, and then just live your life until things come back.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you are both of those, neither of those, somewhere in between those two?
I think the sock drawer one, yeah. I think like let it marinate, because if like I can't think of anything I've ever produced that was good because I powered through, because I just like stuck at it and like, yeah, I think I'll make myself crazy. And you're too close to it. You're too close to it, and I can't see why it's good anymore. So if I just step away for a minute and come back to it, I'm like, oh, here's the thing I didn't even see. Or like this, because I had this life experience that makes more sense now as to why I even started writing this in the first place. I like having a little bit of distance from my work so I can appreciate it and remember why I wanted to do it in the first place. And I think it helps like not always hanging out with people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. I was talking to a comedian friend like that I knew when I started, who like we kind of pop into each other's life every so often. And I was talking about people I'm hanging out with, and she's like, your friend group has kind of changed. Like you kind of don't hang out with the same people. And that's, you know, people go in and out of your life for different reasons. But I was like, yeah. And a lot of these people don't like, they're creators in some way, but they may not necessarily be stand-ups or like comedians or actresses or whatever. They're just like people who do stuff. And I think the attitude might be a little different, where it's like, yeah, we can just like, maybe go to Yosemite for a minute and like chill, and like you meet people outside of your field, and you might like you're like, oh, there's other ways to create and work and live. And it's not such a go. Yeah.
This conversation is currently just blowing my mind in terms of like the secret is take breaks so that you can live and reflect. It's not about like just go do hard, succeed, achieve all the time. It's like you have to take that step. Like when you're just after you have put out this big special, it's not like your brain is empty. It's like your brain is healing and recovering from it, and like you need to give it that space. Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna.
No.
Please excuse me while I journal about this. But we have to wrap it up. Is there anything for our listeners that you, in terms of like when you have this mountain of like, when you have just done this big thing, anything advice that you would give to people for those who want to, create next but are having trouble or in that kind of like pit, anything that you would tell them?
Like, definitely celebrate yourself. Which I guess I do with travel. I like traveling and going somewhere completely different than where I am. And I think that like opens up my brain a little bit to see other spaces and see nature and
curiosity
whatnot.
again.
Yeah. Feed the curiosity. And I'd say, let it happen. Let it come to you. Like I feel like I actually saw Big Magic in your apartment. And I read
that book.
Yeah.
It's
and
so good.
I like the idea of just how like artistry can come to you. And it can go away too, but like you don't have to like work so hard to find it. It'll come.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have to be scared if it doesn't come immediately. You can just keep living your life, and you might just stumble upon, oh, this is my next thing. And you don't even have to try that hard.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautifully said. Very encouraging. Take those
Love
words
you.
of wisdom, everybody.
What we do here at Into the Mud is we like to end every episode with a quick rapid fire 10 questions.
Okay.
I'm going to do 5. Drew will do 5.
So take a deep breath.
So
Get
take
ready.
a deep breath. They're very intense.
Okay.
Okay.
Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Barbie.
Barbie or Ken?
Barbie.
Fuck, marry, kill. Cillian Murphy's eyes, Cillian Murphy's cheekbones, Cillian Murphy's accent.
Fuck Cillian Murphy's eyes. Marry Cillian Murphy's accent and kill the cheekbones.
Interesting choice. I would have fucked
Yeah.
the cheekbones. They're very pointy. Would you rather be able to travel anywhere instantly or be able to read people's minds?
Travel anywhere instantly. I am getting better, but I struggle with timeliness. I was late today.
Nobody knows. You were here right on time.
I was here on time.
Yeah.
Favorite number?
4.
Do you believe in fate?
I do, yeah.
Would you want to live forever?
No, not at all.
How many hours of sleep do you need?
Like 6 or 7.
Great. Would you rather pick up a rat or a snake?
A snake.
Okay. And favorite type of muffin?
Blueberry.
Yay! Amazing.
Wow, that was really hard. I'm sweating.
Wow, I know.
Ooh,
That's the exercise for the day, the anxious exercise.
Yeah.
love it. Thank you so much, my dear friend. Love you so much.
Thank you for having me.
How can people follow your work?
You can follow my work. All my socials are at the Sheer Truth, THE Sheer Truth. My special, The First Woman, is on YouTube. It'll be on Hulu soon. My first special, Pizza Mind, is on Amazon. And I don't know. Just like look for my stuff.
Google.
Look
There's
out
this thing
for-
called Google.
Yeah. Google
Yeah.
my name, and then you'll find the things that I do.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Sasheer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And you can follow us at Into the Mud Podcast across all social platforms. Give us a like, a subscribe. We love you.
Thank you so much. Bye, y'all.
Bye.